You want to learn more about dinosaurs? Of course you do. So today, I'm going to be rating some dinosaur toys. The way I'm going to be doing this is 2 criteria for rating them. Scientific accuracy and quality. That's it. And I'll give them a score based on, 5, 1 through 5. So 1 is really, really bad, and 5 is the best thing in the world. My first toy is this. So let's start with scientific accuracy. Let's try and identify what this dinosaur is supposed to be. It's not actually a real dinosaur. I'm assuming they were going for something along the lines of Stegosaurus, but Stegosaurus does not have spikes all along his back here. Only the tail spikes, called thagomizers if you didn't know. So I'm assuming they're going for something along the lines of Chungkingosaurus or Huarangosaurus. Both of them are Chinese stegosaurs found in China, of course. Although those dinosaurs have shoulder spikes as well. So out here on the shoulder, they have a spike going out. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so scientific accuracy, it doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. But it is based off of something that does exist. I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2 out of 5. They tried, but it is not a real dinosaur. Let's go into quality. Quality of this dinosaur. It's got this little button on the side. And watch this. What? That's so cool. Boing, boing, boing. Quality. I don't know. It's not actually too bad. Seems pretty durable. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 for quality. So if I gave it a 2 and a 4, that averages out at 3, right? I can do math. Next we got my favorite dinosaur of all time, the Dilophosaurus. For those of you that recognize that name, you probably heard it from Jurassic Park. Those are the guys with the frills and that spit poison. Now you can see in this toy, it does not have a frill. That's a good thing because Jurassic Park did it wrong. Frill-wise, this one is more accurate. Dilophosaurus were the largest carnivores of their time. They lived in the early Jurassic. So they were not small at all. They were fairly large. Next is really the hands. A big, big thing that no one really understands when making toys are how dinosaur arms and hands work. A dinosaur has hands, usually. If they're a theropod, that's the two-legged boys, the bipedal. They're theropods. Actually, all dinosaurs, regardless if they're a theropod or not, but theropods are bipedal, so you see their hands. They cannot pronate their hands. And if you don't know what that means pronation is when you go like this. Boop. Turn your hands towards the ground. Pronation. They can't do that. Their wrists are sideways. They can do this. They cannot go, because if they do this, they break their wrist. So many dinosaur toys have your big bad with his hands down like this. He's like, no. For them to do that in real life, they would have to break their wrist. Why would they do that? Why would you break your wrist? That's kind of stupid, don't you think? The arms and hands, not a big fan of on this guy. Looking at the skull, because skulls are super, super interesting in dinosaurs. He has 2 crests. Dilophosaurus means 2-crested lizard. I don't think they're that accurate. They were probably a lot bigger in real life. What they're used for, no one really knows. And then another really big part is a structure called the subnarial gap. Now, I own a sweatshirt of a Dilophosaurus because, it's my favorite dinosaur. I love it. It has really, really large crests. And it had the subnarial gap. You know what? I'll just add it in post. This one does have a subnarial gap, which is what it's supposed to be. Overall, accuracy, I'll give it a 3 because the crests and the arms, not very accurate. Some gap with the whole body plan itself. The feet as well are nice. A lot of people give dinosaurs plantigrade stances, which means that they have their heel on the ground. No, that's not correct. They have digitigrade stances, so they stand on their toes and their heel is above the ground. So this structure here, this is the entire ankle. The ankle, like, it looks like a backwards knee, but it's really their ankle. And they stand on their toes. So that's called a digitigrade stance. This one actually does a pretty good job of that. So it'll get a 3 from me. For quality, I really like the quality of it. It looks like it's hand painted. I don't actually know if it is, but it looks hand painted. It's durable, but it just looks really nice. I'm debating between a 4 and a 5. I'll give it a 5 because I really like the look of it. It just looks really cool despite its hands. And what was that, a 3 and a 5, so that averages out to 4. This is my Dilophosaurus. Love him so much. He's missing his tongue, but that's okay. What? I had to choose one pooper at least. Oh my gosh. What is it? I'm assuming it's supposed to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but it looks nothing like a T-Rex. It's very humanoid for some random reason. It literally has human hands, 5 fingers, 5 digits. A Tyrannosaurus Rex has 2 digits, has 2 little claws. Other theropods like the Dinosaur or Allosaurus, they have 3 claws. But T-Rex has 2, and this one has 5. It straight up has a human hand. It's upright. That's a very old model. Like when dinosaurs were first being studied back in the 1800s, even early 1900s, they were upright. They're not supposed to be, you know. You see, let's take my Dilophosaurus for comparison. He's not upright. He's more of in a horizontal stance, and he's not dragging his tail either. This one, he's just straight up dragging that tail slow and just an upright thing. You know, he's got that plantigrade stance. He's got his heel on the ground. Don't even get me started on this skull, man. Oh my gosh. What are you supposed to do with this? This is not a skull to any living thing that would ever exist. For accuracy, this one's taking a 1. Fat 1, because it's just awful, and I hate it. Quality, it's really cheaply made. 1 or 2 for quality. I'm giving it a 1. I hate it so much. It has an average of 1. This is terrible. I hate it. I do not like it. This gets a 1. Not a dinosaur, but this big chungus. Yeah, I have some problems with this. So it's supposed to resemble a Pteranodon. Now, all pterosaurs, they're not dinosaurs. They're relatives. The most common one you'll see is the Pteranodon. They're very recognizable with that big head crest and their beak. Most people call them a pterodactyl. Scientifically, they're a Pteranodon. A pterodactylus is actually a different animal. In paleontology, there's a lot of misconceptions. That's really annoying. But that's okay, because then I get to teach people about it. Okay, I will start with something I like about it. It has almost like a feathery texture to it. Pteranodons most likely did not have true feathers like the feathers we think of on birds. These are more like little fluff, little hair-like things. And that's pretty accurate. They're not true feathers, but they are little fluffy. So I will give it that, although it's completely upright. A pterosaur needs to support its weight on both its hind legs and its forelegs. It'd be like this, except its head would not. The wings are just really thick. They're probably also smaller in scale to what the wings might have been, but I don't actually know. So for scientific accuracy, I'll give him a 3 because his upright stance really annoys me. I'll give them props for doing the little proto feathers. I actually kind of like that. So 3 for accuracy. For quality, it's just this rubbery plastic stuff. I'll give it a 4 for quality. It doesn't look too bad. It's just really big and awkward to handle. So that's why it's getting a 4. What was that, 3 and a 4? That averages to 3.5. And finally, Right here, we have 3 dinosaurs. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Triceratops, and the Pteranodon. So actually, we have 2 dinosaurs and a pterosaur, if we want to be accurate. These were a blast to build. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, let's look at scientific accuracy of them. And honestly, they did a fantastic job. Obviously, it's Lego. They can't be to scale all the time. They're kind of limited by the pieces they have, but for what they've done, like, it's absolutely amazing. Let's look at the T-Rex. Also, these are the only ones that I've chosen right now that are actual skeletons, which are a lot easier to get correct because those are what we have at our disposal. Yes, at our disposal. They made sure to include all, or at least most of the bones. You know, you got your skull here, then you got your clavicle vertebrae, cervical vertebrae, whatever they're called. And you have the vertebrae going all the way down into the tail. I really like the detail on the lower section. On the tail, you have your caudal vertebrae. On the bottom, you have your chevrons. So these little spikes on the bottom, they're called chevrons. And I'm so glad they included the chevrons on the caudal vertebrae because those, I feel, can be overlooked a lot. And also, some of the really important parts are the hip bones. The hip bones literally define what a dinosaur is. And so they made sure that the hips, they had all the proper bones. They have their pubis bone. Do they have an ischium and ilium? It looks like it, yeah. They don't have gastralia, which are ribs on the stomach. So you have your main ribs here. And then on the bottom of those, you would have gastralia. They don't have that, which I totally understand. It would be really difficult to make gastralia on a Lego, especially with the pieces they're using. So yeah, accuracy-wise, I'm giving this a 5. It looks fantastic. Obviously, I'm giving them the benefit of a doubt because they're limited by the pieces they have. They can't do every single detail exact, but for what this is, it is fantastic. I absolutely love it. And then the Triceratops. He looks kind of derpy. His face is kind of derpy looking. You got that pubis bone going behind, so that's how you know it's an ornithischian. If I can do a little example here. So the pubis bone on the Tyrannosaurus is facing forwards. That means it is a Saurischian dinosaur, which includes the sauropods and theropods. This nugget right there. On the ornithischian dinosaurs, those include like Triceratops, Stegosaurus, Hadrosaurs, Ankylosaurs, your herbivorous dinosaurs pretty much. Their pubis bone is facing backwards, which they kind of just got the pubis and ilium. I get ilium and ischium mixed up all the time, but they got them all kind of jumbled in there, which at least I appreciate. The frill is also really cool. I really like this frill. But for this Triceratops itself, I'm going to give it a 4 for accuracy because the face looks derpy. They're limited by Legos. And finally, we have another Pteranodon. And this one is very lightweight, which obviously is accurate. To take flight, you need to be light. Accuracy-wise, I mean, the details itself are smaller, which means it's, harder to get exact details. The feet are just like random pieces. The little claws on the wings are as well. But otherwise, like the general structure of it, it's got its beak, it's got its little head crest, it's got its little tail. The posture seems pretty good to me. So I'd say it's fairly accurate for what it is. I'll give it another 5. And then quality. They're Legos, man, okay? Legos are fantastic. I love Legos. They're awesome. They get a 5 for quality. Actually, the only problem is they're kind of delicate, but big Legos are obviously going to be delicate. I'm still going to give it a 5, even if they are delicate. These are fantastic. They were a blast to build. I really enjoyed these. So that wraps up my dinosaur toy reviews. I really enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of fun. So if you could just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, that would be much appreciated. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.